Alright, so this video is to explain why I am returning my Bells of Steel safety squat bar. This is the premium safety squat bar that just got released over Black Friday weekend. Before I get into this, I already made this video once and started the return process, and I got an email from Kayvon, who is the owner of Bells of Steel. And to be quite frank with you, I like Kayvon. I've interacted with him a couple times on the web, and he seems like a real genuine guy. And, he's trying to make it right. However, there are considerable problems with this bar, this iteration of this bar, as of the end of 2019. And I would not suggest that you buy this bar unless you're reading this in the future or watching this in the future. And he's taking care of some of these issues, which may occur. But as of now, I don't recommend this bar, and I'm going to tell you why. First and foremost is, as you can see with this J-Cup, it does not fit a 3x3 rack. So, Kayvon's response to this is that the Bells of Steel racks are something like 2.3 by 2.3, and they're a little narrower, and his products are designed in his own ecosystem. So that makes sense, but I think hopefully they'll just update the website and put on that it's not compatible with a 3x3 rack because all of the weight is riding right here on this corner of the J-Cup because it's just too narrow. So that's problem number one. Problem number two, the stitching on this is already pulling out. It's brand new, so the stitching is starting to pull, and no doubt it's going to continue to get worse. It's in several sections here. Yeah. Anyway, it's minor, but again, it's going to continue. Stitching never goes back together, right? Third, there was rust on these handles. It's a black coating, so it's kind of difficult to see. So it was coated over rust. Yeah, you can kind of see what I'm talking about here. So he's aware of this. He says he's working on that. Most of the problems with this bar come down to the sleeve. So first of all, this sleeve does not spin well. If you rotate it, it'll stick. It's got a sticking point in it. And here's the way that this is designed, right? So you've got this big fat 38 millimeter bar the bar shaft comes down here, and then you have a bolt that runs right directly into the end of the shaft. And then there is a welded washer that is welded on the inside of this sleeve that butts up against the end of the bar, and then the bolt goes through that welded washer and into the end of the bar. There are several problems with this. One, as it passes through that hole, it has a little bushing, a little tiny bushing that goes around the bolt. That's where all the weight is carried, so it allows it to rotate around the bolt. So you're loading the bolt in shear. You're also loading it on the threads because they did not select a partially threaded bolt, they selected a fully threaded bolt. So it threads in part way, and then this little bushing runs on the threads, which is not a particularly good design. It's not smooth. The other problem is a lot of these are not design problems. That's a design problem. A lot of it is a quality control problem. And you run into this with Chinese goods. So the hole in the end of this shaft is drilled cattywampus. It's not perfectly straight, perpendicular into the end of the bar. So if you imagine the weight is riding on the bolt and it's not straight. So some sections it's smooth and it rotates, and other sections it sticks really hard. And if you could get a close-up to this, you can actually see that the bar doesn't rotate. The sleeve doesn't rotate perfectly smooth. It's kind of an oblong shape. So that's a big problem because the only real reason that you would buy this bar over the Titan bar is because it's got rotating sleeves. And the sleeves don't really rotate very well. So why would you pay a $50 premium to have this bar? I don't understand. The other, and this is a design problem, so as you can sort of see maybe if I slide this sleeve out, one, see this, there's a lot of slop in this, but right here where the finish is eaten away, this sort of knife's edge, you can't really see the black line behind, although you kind of can because there's a chunk missing out of the sleeve here. But this is, because there's no bushing here, even though it was advertised to have a bushing in it, and there's no bushing, it just rides right on the shaft. But the all of the weight of this sleeve, basically everything from here in, is riding right on just a knife's edge here. So basically, if you think about on the inside of this sleeve, as soon as you get past this lip right here, it goes in. So like this part is, I don't want to call it hollow, but it's concave behind here. So you would think by just looking at this that the bar is rotating in this whole about 1 inch wide section of the collar is making contact with the bar, and it's not. There's a very small inner lip right here that holds all of the weight. So again, as this rotates, that's a very small amount of surface area with weight on it, and it's going to dig a trench into this bar stock, which has already started to do. It's already eaten the, I didn't catch this with my fingernail because it's eaten the finish out of it, and it's new. It's just from playing around and spinning it a little bit. So last sort of nitpicky stuff, this finish doesn't appear to be very durable. It's already kind of flaky and not super good. So Kayvon said he was aware of this problem. He's aware of the rust problem. He's working on that. He's aware, this, he said, was a compromise. So he could either have the bigger diameter shaft, the 38 millimeter bar, which you can see. Now I don't have, you know, I got my Trump hands here. It's a pretty fat bar, right? And he could either have that with no bushing or a smaller bar diameter with a bushing, and chose to go with the bigger, stiffer bar. And that was just kind of a, I mean, it's just a compromise that got chosen. So I don't know that this is going to get addressed, or if it is, I don't know how. This problem does not seem to be something that's going to be addressed. I don't know how you fix quality control in Chinese manufacturing as far as drilling the holes right. So in the grand scheme of things, I'm just sending this back. Kayvon or Bells of Steel's got a 30-day guarantee, and I've had this about a week, so I'm just going to go ahead and send it back. Like I said, I just wanted to give an update here. I would not recommend purchasing this bar for the time being, but I also wanted to be fair to Kayvon and say, you know, that it was good of him to acknowledge that he's aware of these problems and to fill me in on what it is that he's been doing to try to correct some of them. So anyway, hopefully that helps. Bye.